Madam Presiding Officer, thank you again for the opportunity to wind up this debate. And first, I want to say that I am happy that those opposed to the minority would have agreed to some aspects of the motion. We, however, don't see the relevance of amending and the version that is currently placed for the amendment. And we are also happy that you agreed that the former administration would have implemented and put in place policies to address this issue. And the Secretary of Health Wellness in her wind-up would have indicated the good work of the persons who are providing services for mental health issues and counseling and so forth, and the hotline that is now available to persons seeking immediate intervention in relation to domestic violence and abuse. And we agree that there is a need to culture our children differently, and that is one of the reasons why under the former administration, the current Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection was named Health, Wellness and Family Development, because we saw the need to empower and engender and boost the whole issue of family life, because we understand that everyone has a role and a responsibility to play in the upbringing, and we all have a part to play in contributing to the reduction. But we are also saying that the Tobago House of Assembly and this Executive Council has a major role in facilitating and bringing all sectors together to the table to forward and implement these strategies. What I think the majority did not understand in our motion is that we agree, and the statistics both presented by myself and everyone who would have presented statistics here, the statistics shows that domestic violence and child abuse is prevalent in our society. But we see the motion currently as timely and relevant because there has been a significant rise. And based on the statistics, it's more than twofold in some instances in domestic violence and child abuse. So we understand that current policies are in place. But what we do not feel is that the current policies addresses the need sufficiently. We do not feel that the current policies address the significant rise, the exaggerated rise in domestic violence and child abuse. And we feel that this administration needs to pay closer attention and deal with those issues that present itself as a result of COVID. So pre-COVID, yes, we had domestic violence, but we are seeing now an exaggerated rise. And of course, we are seeing in Trinidad and Tobago, where, was it last week? Almost every day of the week, there was a murder, death, a woman, child, children. And we feel this is something urgent that the administration needs to pay attention to. And it cannot be business as usual. Madam Presiding Officer, we also want to place on the record, or correct the record rather. It was indicated that the minority agree that policies were not in place. The minority did not agree or did not indicate or did not suggest by our utterances that nothing was in place to deal with domestic violence and child abuse from the last administration. And Madam Presiding Officer, I would not go much longer, but in the research and the readings, we would have seen, and based on the discussions with NGOs, individuals, and I'm happy that we would have engaged in those discussions, so we have a greater appreciation and a full understanding of what is happening in relation to these issues. And one of the things that were identified is that the potential for economic abuse, which leads and increases domestic abuse and child abuse, one of the resulting factors was due to job losses, furlongs, reduced working hours, and a general decline in economic activity. And we would have seen that in Trinidad and Tobago, because of the lockdown and the stay-at-home measures, persons were forced to go home. And again, it was indicated that this was one of the reasons, job losses was one of the reasons or one of the factors that accounted for increased stress levels and increase in domestic violence and abuse. And Madam Presiding Officer, I want to caution this current administration as they dismantle departments and they dismantle and send home persons, that the manner in which they are doing the restructuring and disengaging and disenfranchising persons, that they are not contributing to the increase in domestic violence and child abuse. And Madam Presiding Officer, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute in this debate, and I thank you.
Honourable members, amendments were proposed to the motion before the question is put to the House. We need to vote on each amendment. The amendment proposed was that we delete the last resolution and be it further resolved that this House mandates the Tobago House of Assembly to develop and implement strategies to treat with the meaningful engagement of both victims and perpetrators of these incidents. And to insert, and be it further resolved that this Tobago House of Assembly Executive Council continue to support the work of our social support staff within the THA and the larger Tobago community, including NGOs and CBOs, in managing these issues. All in favor, say aye. Any against? The ayes have it. Amendment is carried. Now, members, I would now put the question to the House, given all amendments were carried. The new amended motion reads as follows. Whereas the Tobago House of Assembly Act 40 of 1996, via the 5th schedule, is responsible for all matters relating to social welfare, and whereas the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 resulted in stay-at-home measures, and whereas there has been an alarming increase in incidents of domestic violence and child abuse directly affecting men, women, and children. Be it resolved that this House joins in condemnation of these heinous acts of violence and abuse meted out to citizens throughout the country. And be it further resolved that this THA Executive Council continue to support the work of our social support staff within the THA and the larger Tobago community, including NGOs and CBOs, in managing these issues. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. The amended motion is carried.